Hello, this is John Harrigan, author and founder of the website immortalnow.com, where we teach the secret to immortality. And what exactly is the secret to immortality? Well, it's how we create this reality, our body, our mind, our feelings, and our lives by what we think, what we say, words are powerful, and what we physically do. It's nothing original to me. The secret to immortality has been around forever. Immortal Taoist in the mountains of China, and that's come over to the United States, and I've been practicing and taught that for the last 23 years. And even in Christianity, we have Jesus talking about what? Immortal physical life in the body on this planet. If we do certain things, act certain ways, with love, compassion, understanding. The secret to immortality is just a modern version of wisdom of the ancients, that really we're living in heaven now. We're in the Garden of Eden right now, but we've messed it up a bit by our behavior, by killing, by doing harm to others and ourselves, where life form after life form is chasing after other life forms to consume and eat it. And part of the secret to immortality is we suggest to you that forms of lives aren't in existence to eat other forms of lives. It can seem that evolution is designed that way, but I promise you it's really not. Not at all. It's a much more benevolent and productive creation and world and physical body if we act with kindness, cooperate, and work together to evolve and grow, not hunt each other down, kill, and eat. Even single-celled animals do that, bacteria and viruses. And my suggestion is we don't have to do that. That really is the force of death. Of death, rebirth, death, rebirth, death, rebirth, kind of an endless cycle of horror and hardship. And for sure, evolution happens every second that life exists. I suggest and presume to you all that there's a growing consciousness, but let's change all that. Let's take the suggestion of our good spiritual friends through the ages that suggests the way to really live is a life of physical immortality, of heaven on earth. And our website, immortalnow.com, teaches the secret to immortality, which is exactly how do you do that on a day-to-day basis? How do you live joy, happiness, and freedom? And how do you transform into physical immortality? And I suggest to you, we don't transform at all. We just stop the trouble we're making. We stop twisting creation into this death grip, this death force. We kind of let go of this hellish death and killing and consuming. We kind of let go of it into love, into peace, into compassion, and let the eternal self express itself in our physical bodies on the planet. And that's the secret to immortality, that it's not a secret at all. It kind of looks, and it can seem to us that we're born into this contraption and into this mechanized world where everything is chasing after everything else to eat it and kill it and consume it, where we have to compete and be aggressive and knock out our neighbor to get a place in the world. We don't have to do that at all. As an example, think of your own human body. Our body is a beautiful example of immortality, of how eternal life works. Our body is designed to live forever. Even in modern medicine, researchers and doctors, they don't consider death a natural outcome of life at all, because it isn't. They consider death to be a disease, something wrong, because it is wrong. But let's say we could have immortal physical life, and You become convinced of that immediately or shortly after hearing me talk. Well, what kind of world do you want to live in if you're going to live forever? And I suggest we do. I suggest none of us have a choice but to live forever. So why don't we make it all a nice place? Why don't we have joy, happiness, a feeling of freedom, love, compassion, and goodness? It's something that everybody wants. Even people that are brutal, maybe they've been treated poorly growing up, maybe they have some problems with their development. Even people that act brutal, that are greedy and self-centered, they're still in need. They're still in want of something. They're still pursuing something. I suggest you, both troubled people and the greatest among us, are pursuing their soul. They want something good. When I post social media or when I write articles on our blog and we have a podcast, whenever I talk about love, people love it. People want to hear about love. They want to feel love at any age because that's who we are. That's the secret to immortality. Thoughts of love, words of love, actions of love. I don't mean foolish actions of love, foolish words of love. I mean respectful acts of love, respectful words of love that respect your life and who you are. There are ways to be kind. If we're out in public and shopping somewhere and somebody's rude, maybe the most compassionate thing we can do is simply not to react to them. You know, we don't have to get down and kiss their feet, and we don't have to give up our dignity, but we don't have to join into their terror. When people are terrorizing us in a small way in public, over a parking space, or in reality, they're the ones living in terror, and we don't have to join them in terror. I'm trying to remember as I speak to you that the camera is right there. The camera is over to the left. So I'll try to look into the camera when I speak. When you speak and before you speak, according to the secret to immortality, pause for a second and look into your heart and ask yourself, am I speaking from my soul? So often, we don't have to say anything. You know, people are in a hurry in the world. People are worried. People are uptight. People are trying to survive because the masses think they have to get food or they'll die. They aren't thinking it, but we have to have air or we'll die, clean air. We have to have a place to live. We have to be safe. We have to have friends. And everyone's competing. And when we compete, we actually push away what we really need. When we compete, we actually disable ourselves and disable society. We create a world where none of us are really able to get what we fully want and need. And what we fully want and need is the secret to immortality. Nothing new, nothing special, nothing unique, but it is the wisdom of the ages. The secret to immortality that we teach on immortalnow.com and in my book, Qigong and Spiritual Growth, you can find on that website. And in our podcast, The Secret to Immortality, you can find a link to that podcast on our website, immortalnow.com. You can listen to it. This is a podcast I'm doing right now, and it's available on our podcast. You can get it and listen to it through Apple, on Apple Podcasts, or Google if you have an Android phone. You can listen to it on our website, on our blog, and you can see it. You can see me talk right here as I'm talking on our podcast on YouTube. So what I'm speaking to you now is available on YouTube. You can find a link to YouTube on our website. It's also available in our podcast, and we often write about it a little bit in our daily, weekly blog article. So again, I'm John Harrigan, author and founder of the website immortalnow.com, where we teach the secret to immortality. Wisdom of the ages, nothing new. Simply, we're living in heaven now. We're in the Garden of Eden. the proverbial Garden of Eden, the legendary Garden of Eden. This is it. Here I am. Here you are, and we are immortal now. We're not designed to get sick, to die, to suffer, to have hardship. Who wants to do that? And think of it, what baby, what toddler, what young boy or girl ever expects to die? They don't. They know they're not supposed to. They're assuming they're born into Eden if they're treated decently in their homes. But then death comes along and shocks that child. And even if death doesn't come along about the age of 12, abstract thinking, my background is psychology and human development, we become aware of death about the age of 12. And it is kind of a trauma and kind of a shock if you can remember it. We're not supposed to die, and that's why people get upset when people get sick and die. That's why it's harsh and horrible. It's not the circle of life. There is no circle of life. That's a cartoon, and it's a song by Elton John. It's a la-di-da, everything's great. Well, it's not great. The world is suffering and dying. A lot of the world is at war. A lot of people live in brutality and a lack of safety, with a lack of health. Everyone, almost everyone, gets sick and die. And if you've helped anyone through that, if you've worked at a nursing home, been to a nursing home, death's in general a horrible thing. Someone was talking to me recently about someone they knew dying of natural causes, etc. And I explained to them that whatever age anyone is, that no one dies of natural causes. There's no such thing. For anyone of any age to die, something has to kill you. And it's usually not fast, and it's usually painful and slow. I've been through it a few times with family members and in nursing homes and other places. We don't need to die. We don't need to live in a world bereft of love, of plenty, of food. We have everything we want right here. We're in heaven. We are immortal already. We don't have to transform anything. We don't have to jockey around our genetics or the telomeres or our chromosomes. We're designed to be immortal if we cooperate within, if we simply don't fight ourselves, don't fight the world unnecessarily, but find how to cooperate, to love, and to live in peace. Let's get back to the secret to immortality. What is it? And how did it happen that I, John Harrigan, am here talking to you about physical immortality, about living forever, joyous, happy, and free, kind of talking like a prophet? I'm not a prophet. Kind of talking like Jesus talked. I'm not Jesus or anything like that. It's just that all spiritual people, all people that have developed into themselves, get to the same place. Whether they're an historical yogi master, whether they're in the Middle East, whether they're in China, in the mountains, as my teacher and his teachers are immortals there. It doesn't matter, from whatever corner of the earth, whatever time, American Indians, wherever you look deeper and deeper into wisdom schools, you'll find this: love, compassion, peace, immortality, living forever. Judaism, Kabbalah, everywhere. And I'm just voicing it today for you because I'm suggesting strongly that we are immortal now. And that's why the website is called immortalnow.com. Go there. There are a lot of free things to get you going. So how did I get started on all this? I'm going to tell you just a little bit of my early story. When I was born in Dayton, Ohio, at Miami Valley Hospital, I was born into a world that I felt I had been born into hundreds and hundreds of times before. The first memory of the secret to immortality, of why I'm here, of my mission on earth, my first conscious involvement in that was about the age of 6, maybe 7. I was in our house in Dayton, Ohio, and sitting on a stairway and looking into a mirror. And remember, at that time, I was just going deep into my soul, into a timeless space, into the immortal now. And I was looking at all my lifetimes, and I'm not a proponent of reincarnation. I'm not teaching it. I'm not even suggesting that it's a reality. I'm just saying, this is my experience. Listen to it. There's something perhaps to gain. I saw that I had lived about 1,500, 600 lifetimes, about the age of 6. And I experienced them all at the same time, as though they were alive. I was in the immortal now, in a timeless, eternal space, as my timeless, eternal self. Yet, I was in a 6-year-old body looking into a mirror. And the feeling that I had was, gosh, here I am, okay. I've tried this life on earth hundreds and hundreds of times. I've lived about every combination of permutation of human existence. Here I am again. And I knew with all of me, if you've listened to the past podcast, I knew with all of me, all of my soul, all of my being in this lifetime, I was going to find out the secret to life. In every life, rich, poor, sad, happy, well, sick, in between, I had always seemed to miss the meaning of life. Who are we? What is our full potential? And why are we here? I suggest to you, it's what I teach in The Secret to Immortality. So I was born with this consciousness, with this passion, with this sense of mission. And I slowly grew. And like a lot of people, life hasn't been perfect for me. It hasn't been perfect for any of you. It has its ups and downs. Everybody suffers. Everybody struggles. We're all trying to survive in this difficult world. It looks easier. If I'm looking at somebody else, it may look like, oh, they're having an easier time. I used to be a counselor, and some people kind of have an easier time than others. That's true. But everybody struggles. And one of my big cataclysmic events was when I was about 15, turning 16 in that summer. And I was a spiritual seeker. I'd started meditating when I was 12, reading all types of books on Eastern philosophies, yogi masters, Christianity, Christian mysticism. My mother was doing the same thing. She was my first mentor, and I watched her doing yoga and reading books by yogi masters. I read them too. We discussed them. So, decades ago, PhDs at Harvard were saying LSD was a good way, a possibility to meet God, have a spiritual experience. I tried it once. For me, it was not the way, not the answer. It was interesting, but I could clearly see, even the first time I took it, that this was a neurotoxin, which it is. But I thought, well, maybe I'll take it a second time. It was kind of interesting. And at the age of 15, I was bored that summer, and I took it a second time. When the young man, nice guy that sold it to me, he saw me the next week. He said, John, did you have a problem with that? I said, I certainly did. He says, well, I think there's too much strychnine and methamphetamine in it. I know nothing about anything. I'm going like, what? That explained everything. I had a very horrible experience, and it was left with overwhelming anxiety. It was a very bad experience that damaged my brain and my nervous system. I was in pain every day, had nightmares, PTSD, the experience on the LSD. My body was torn apart by bats, eaten by insects and worms and everything else. It was really a live trauma. You know, the pain of the strychnine working with the hallucinogen and the speed. I experienced an agony and a terror. It was very hard to live with. I was either afraid I was going to experience that again, the memory. I was afraid of the memory. Just a typical PTSD, maybe not as severe as some, but for me it was such agony and pain. After about a year, I just couldn't live with it anymore. It was too painful. I couldn't endure it. I never thought I'd get to the end of the road of what I could endure. I can endure a lot, but after about a year at the age of 16, I thought, I can't live this way anymore. So I said a prayer. And in that prayer, out of my deep desperation, I reached into a deep part of myself and I prayed, God, do something or I'm cashing in my chips. It wasn't a threat to the creative source, perhaps. It was a desperate plea. I knew I had gone as far as I could with that pain and I couldn't live anymore. When I made that prayer, when I said that prayer, when I reached to that inner core of me, instantly I was sitting next to what I would call my maker. I don't want to use religious terms because you don't have to be religious to get the secret to immortality. If you're human, it's in you. You don't have to believe anything except believe that there may be a better way to live, and a deeper, happier, more profoundly compassionate, loving, and enjoyable you to find. That's your secret to immortality. What I found is that I was suddenly transported. I said that prayer, God, do something, or I'm cashing in my chips. All of a sudden, I didn't leave my body. I was in my body, but all of a sudden, I was right next to my maker in heaven, to my literal father. Maybe you don't have one, or maybe you have a mother, or maybe your higher power is the cosmos. It doesn't matter. It's your soul. And I was next to this being that created me, that to me I call God from a Christian background, but you don't have to call it that. You don't have to even believe in my story. But listen to my story and maybe think about it. When I was in that perfect place, that heavenly consciousness, next to the source of all consciousness, I wasn't sick at all. I had no hardship, no pain. There was no time or space, kind of like a near-death experience. Kind of was a near-death experience, but it wasn't. But similar to what you may read, I was in heaven. It was just me and God consciousness everywhere and beside me. Without beginning or end, I had always been there, yet I was aware of who I was on earth, where I was at the same time. I don't know how long I sat in that infinite, perfect, beautiful nirvana heavenly place. But I sat there for a while in perfect peace, God consciousness, me and God together, sharing the same consciousness, the same beings, the same people, so to speak. But I wasn't God. I was maybe a child of God developing. And then in that perfect space, it literally was heaven nirvana, no illness, nothing bad, consciousness, no secrets, everything is known, truly a heaven. Then I started to become aware of my body on earth. And I wasn't traveling anywhere. I wasn't in a different place. I wasn't in another dimension. My attention was different. That's all. You know, sometimes you may be watching a movie on TV, or you may be reading a book, and your consciousness is in that book, but you're still perfectly aware of the room that you're in, who you are, and where you are. So I kind of started to resolve in consciousness away from that heavenly place into my body that had been broken and injured by that bad drug experience. And as I started going back into my body, I had that full God consciousness in my physical body, in my bed, in my brain. And everything I thought about, I had this perfect force of God going into the world, from God consciousness in me, from God, heaven simply at my back, flowing into the world with everything that I thought about. One of my sisters was having a lot of problems at that time, and it was stressful for everybody. And when I started to think about her and her problems, anything difficult or painful on earth just brought this instant flow of perfect love in heaven. And it was miraculous, it was pleasurable, it was divine, it was who I really was. And I understood, as I resolved back into my body, I went, oh, this is how all humans are designed to be. We're all designed to be perfect conduits of love. No pain, no illness, divine and lovely, working together, living in love and peace, living in a physical heaven. I got it. And because I was raised in a Christian church, I just went, oh, this is what Jesus was probably talking about. This is what he kept telling us about. We're born to live forever. There is no death. Hey, folks, death is over. There's perfect love in heaven right here. Now, I've been practicing Qigong with a Qigong Grandmaster from Beijing, China for over 23 years. I'm a Qigong master, and I study with him and I do exercises with him specifically for physical immortality, for wellness, health, wholeness, for deep human existence, for strength in body, strength in mind, strength in soul. Qigong, that's on our website. You can read about it. You can try and exercise for free on our website, immortalnow.com. And please go there. That's why I'm here. I've got the secret to immortality. I don't have it, but my life has led me to it. And my mission is to share this beauty, divine pleasure with you. Life forever. It's on the website. It's what I do. It's my mission. It's here. Go there and look around. Immortalnow.com. The secret to immortality. Joy, happiness, freedom, love, bliss, happiness on earth. But at that cataclysmic experience, I was 16, a year after terrible suffering, damage to my nervous system, constant pain, fear and terror, anxiety. I had that miraculous experience where I found myself in heavenly consciousness on earth, in my body. I experienced my physical body as a perfect body, as a heavenly body. But as that heavenly experience, as that what I call miracle experience at the age of 16, as I resolved back into my regular consciousness, I could feel that I had been healed about a third. And I understood at the age of 16, okay, this is my life mission. My life mission is to work with this sacred power, to work with this divine consciousness, and to make it my consciousness, to marry my consciousness with this perfect consciousness, bring it into the flesh and share it with the world and teach people how to do that. Because that's who we all really already are, I suggest to you. You don't have to become a saint, a guru, a master, or anything. Just learn a few Qigong exercises for immortality. Listen to these podcasts. Listen to these YouTube videos. Take a course that we offer on our website called Introduction to Immortality. Lots of things. Try our book, Qigong and Spiritual Growth. We have item after item to help you. The course, and we have a weekly lab, a membership, where we have private lectures, where we have Qigong class, 2 or 3 a month, 2 or 3 lectures a month. We have an Instagram site, a Twitter site. We have Facebook, of course, where we put up about 4 graphics a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, and in between, to give you inspiration, teaching, hope, and instructions on the secret to immortality. Join us again every week, a podcast, a talk, a meditation or two, some Qigong. Try our Immortality LAB, our monthly membership with private exercises, private talks, Qigong lessons. Take our course. You pay one fee and you have access forever on the internet, or you can download it. The course is Introduction to Immortality, and we'll have more and more and more for you. You are immortal now. You can live forever, joyous, happy, and free, as all the saints and sages have suggested. Bless you and keep you.